He was a man who had everything: power, prestige, and a name that opened every door in South Carolina's legal world. But behind closed doors, Alex Murdaugh was drowning in lies, in debt, and in desperation. In June 2021, his wife Maggie and his youngest son Paul were found dead on their family hunting estate. And the man accused of murdering them both? The same man who claimed he was grieving, innocent, and betrayed. This is the story of how a legal dynasty collapsed under the weight of greed, deception, and cold-blooded murder. Alex Murdaugh came from one of South Carolina's most prominent legal families, a name synonymous with power and respect. His law firm, PMPED, was a pillar of the community, handling major cases and generating millions in revenue. On the surface, Alex Murdaugh was a successful 54-year-old lawyer with a wife, 2 sons, and a sprawling hunting estate called Moselle. He had clients, colleagues, and a reputation built over decades in the courtroom. But beneath that veneer of success lurked a dangerous secret. Alex Murdaugh was stealing from his clients and his firm. For years, he embezzled millions of dollars through fraudulent schemes, forged documents, and betrayed trusts. His law partners had no idea. His family had no idea. No one knew the truth. By 2021, Alex Murdaugh's criminal enterprise was about to collapse. His partners were asking questions. The numbers didn't add up. An audit was coming. Alex knew that within weeks, his entire life would unravel. His career, his freedom, his family's legacy. He was facing federal indictment. He was facing prison time. He was facing exposure as a fraud and a thief. But Alex Murdaugh was not a man who accepted loss. He was a man who solved problems. And on June 7, 2021, he decided to create a new problem, one that would change everything. That evening, Alex Murdaugh told his wife Maggie and his youngest son Paul that he was going to visit his mother, who lived nearby. It was a lie. Instead, he stayed at Moselle, the family's sprawling hunting property. At approximately 10 p.m., in the darkness of the hunting grounds, Alex Murdaugh killed his wife Maggie with a rifle. Minutes later, he killed his 22-year-old son Paul with the same weapon. 2 shots, 2 deaths. A double homicide designed to buy sympathy and time. Alex Murdaugh's plan was cold and calculated. Murder his family, claim he was the victim, and generate a false narrative of innocence while his crimes were covered up. When Alex returned to his mother's house, he called 911 at 10:07 p.m. and reported finding his wife and son dead. "There's been a shooting at my hunting lodge," he said, his voice measured and controlled. He told investigators he had been at his mother's house the entire time. He was innocent. He was shocked. He was grieving. The Murdaugh name still carried weight. The initial investigation treated him with kid gloves. For months, Alex Murdaugh maintained his innocence while secretly destroying evidence and manipulating the narrative. He hired powerful attorneys. He gave emotional interviews. He positioned himself as a man seeking justice for his murdered family. But investigators were beginning to ask questions that didn't have easy answers. Security footage from the family property showed Alex's car, and phone data pinpointed his location at the crime scene. Cell phone records placed him at Moselle at the time of the murders, contradicting his alibi. Witnesses reported seeing him near the kennels where his wife and son were found, shortly before he called 911. His financial desperation became public knowledge. Millions in stolen funds, pending audits, and imminent criminal exposure. Investigators realized that Alex Murdaugh had motive, means, and opportunity. They realized that a grieving man doesn't destroy evidence and construct elaborate lies. They realized that Alex Murdaugh was not a victim. He was a murderer. In July 2023, nearly 2 years after the murders, law enforcement arrested Alex Murdaugh and charged him with 2 counts of murder. The case became a media sensation. News outlets covered every detail, every hearing, every dramatic twist. Forensic evidence mounted: gunshot residue, cell phone data, financial records, and witness testimony. Alex Murdaugh's own lies became his undoing. Every false statement, every manufactured alibi, every deceptive interview was documented. His defense claimed he was innocent, that he was being framed, that the real killer was still out there. But the evidence was overwhelming and impossible to ignore. In March 2023, after a sensational trial covered by national media, a jury deliberated for just 3 hours before returning a guilty verdict. Alex Murdaugh was convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul. On March 2, 2023, Judge Clifton Newman sentenced Alex Murdaugh to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The once powerful lawyer would spend the rest of his life behind bars for the murders of his own family. The legal dynasty that had defined his identity was shattered. His legacy was destroyed. His name became synonymous with betrayal and murder. But the case didn't end there. Subsequent investigations revealed the full scope of his criminal enterprise. Alex Murdaugh faced additional charges for stealing millions from his law firm and his clients. He was charged with financial fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. The man who had everything, power, prestige, and respect, had lost it all by committing the ultimate crime, murdering his own family. The murders of Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh represent a profound tragedy, a family destroyed by greed, deception, and violence. But they also represent the power of evidence, investigation, and a justice system that ultimately holds even the most powerful accountable. Alex Murdaugh's case teaches us that no amount of money, no powerful name, and no clever lie can hide the truth forever. The evidence always emerges, justice always prevails, and the guilty are always revealed. Maggie Murdaugh was 52 years old. Paul Murdaugh was 22 years old. They were murdered by the man who was supposed to protect them. Their story serves as a reminder that in the pursuit of wealth and power, some men lose their humanity. And here is the real mugshot of Alex Murdaugh, a man convicted of murdering his own family.